This year, PICO, California reaffirmed its commitment to building faith-based and spiritually centered people power, to create systemic change for the most vulnerable so that all Californians thrive. Here's what we've accomplished in the first half of the year. In December, our Learning Leads cohort brought together organizing leaders and federation directors from across the state to deepen the knowledge, skills, and practices of those who are responsible for nurturing and mentoring organizers. This would precede a campaign which, in the first half of the year, has resulted in over 5,000 calls to the legislature, 529 people attending trainings, 116 statewide research actions, 14,098 contacted voters, 1,601 people at actions, 159 new grassroots donors, 49 contacted legislators, and 5 supported bills. In January, we launched the School of Faith and Power. Over 100 organizers gathered in this space to hone skills for building relational power and moving public power. Over the course of 5 days, we created intentional spaces for knowledge creation and dissemination, and sponsored activities that inspired and connected people across difference. At the heart of our time together was the understanding that as students and practitioners of power, we need to center a culture of learning through a formation system that permeates our network. In March, our Leadership Assembly united leaders from every PICO federation to affirm our shared organizing agenda based on housing justice and equity. We sought to uplift vulnerable communities and the need for housing solutions that will result in fewer people living on the streets. And thus, the Home is Sacred campaign was born. Later that month, with our legislative champion Senator Maria Elena Durazo and our coalition partners, we publicly launched SB 567, the Homelessness Prevention Act, a piece of legislation aimed at protecting tenants from unjust evictions, closing loopholes exploited by corporate landlords, and bringing relief to millions of struggling Californians. In April, the PICO California Network held its first major public action in almost 5 years. Over 650 clergy, faith leaders, and organizers descended on California's capital to demand an end to unjust evictions, skyrocketing rents, and corporate influence over the state's housing policies. We conducted research actions with dozens of state legislators and emphatically launched our Home is Sacred campaign. Leaders and volunteers from across the state arrived with vigor and spirit, ready to advocate for change. They represented all 9 of the PICO Network's member federations: Faith in Action Bay Area, Faith in the Valley, Faith in Action East Bay, Sacramento Area Congregations Together, True North Organizing Network, San Diego Organizing Project, Inland Congregations United for Change, LA Voice, and PACT, People Acting in Community Together. Later that month, we overcame the first major hurdle in our legislative fight. Despite relentless opposition from powerful corporate interests like the California Apartment Association, our organizing efforts pushed SB 567 past 2 committees and onto the Senate floor, where it would later pass. In May, our statewide campaign continued with public actions from San Francisco to Pasadena, aimed at preserving SB 567 and calling on our representatives to ensure everyone in California has a safe and secure place to call home. As powerful real estate lobbies pushed for the dismantling of pro-tenant housing bills in the legislature, we doubled our efforts and continued organizing for a California where everyone belongs, not just the wealthy. In June, the unexpected arrival of migrants to the Sacramento region ignited a crisis in need of rapid response, compassion, and astute care. Our brothers and sisters from Sacramento Act answered the call to ensure the safety, security, and dignity of our new neighbors. As communities of faith, we embraced our immigrant loved ones because they are members of our families, communities, and part of the fabric of our state. This reaffirmed the PICO California Network's commitment to always embrace our loved ones when others choose to abandon them. But this is only the beginning. With the collective strength of our 9 federations, the second half of 2023 will be an opportunity to build on our work and catalyze people power to lift up the voices of the most vulnerable among us. Until our state becomes a place where everyone thrives, our work must continue until there is racial and economic justice in California. because it is nothing less than our sacred and moral duty.